Alright all, and welcome back to a new video and another weekend preview as we look ahead to a fine weekend of racing at Sandown, Aintree, Navan on Saturday, and then Punchestown and Cork, and one race from Huntington on Sunday as well. So a jam-packed weekend. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these weekend previews. Last week's weekend preview, the tips did pretty well overall. We had a few winners in there. We had a few horses run well at good prices. Like the likes of Captain CJ, Ronald Pump, both placing at around 11, 12 to 1. So hopefully we can continue on and have another decent enough weekend. As you can see, I'm a bit of a new man. The Movember has finally gone, so back to normality finally. Very exciting weekend for us here in the Horse Racing Buddy Club. We have two horses entered, one tomorrow night at Dundalk in the mile 2 furlong maiden, a horse called True Dreamer. Unfortunately, she's been drawn out in the car park in stall 14, I believe. Melanie Horseman takes the ride. Hopefully she goes on well and gets a decent enough experience first time out. And then we've a horse in the bumper at Navan on Saturday, which is absolutely brilliant. Kilcruit is running in it for Willie Mullins. I think there's a Gordon Elliott point-to-point recruit as well, but we have a horse Do This Like This for John McConnell. And Mr. Riley on board. It is Mr. T. Riley. I think his name's Tom, but I'm not going to assume that's the case. I don't know it firsthand, but hopefully again we're looking for a nice education for this horse. He's been showing John a few pleasing signs at home, so hopefully he can run quite well. Moving on into the weekend preview, starting at Sandown with the Henry VIII Novices Chaser. Good looking race this, full of really young, unexposed horses. All Mankind, Hitman and Galo all running in this race, all 4-year-olds as well, so all getting a weight allowance from Eldorado Allen, and they're all shorter in the market than Eldorado Allen, and I don't believe that should be the case. I think Eldorado Allen, he's currently available at 5 to 1. I think it's actually a very, very fair price. A little bit disappointing, this is a 7-runner race, and this is going to be a bit of a theme throughout the weekend in these graded races, that there's just not much of a betting angle to them, I don't think. But I think Eldorado Allen at 5 to 1 is a horse I'm willing to back to win only, actually, even though I suppose you could make a case that he's an each-way price. But I think he's a really good horse. I think the fact that he dealt with Gumball, or was dealing with Gumball's jumping, and the pace he was travelling would give me good signs that he'll be able to match All Mankind. Hitman's race on Chase debut did fall apart, so I'm not sure how good he is, and Galaw's grade 2 at Wincanton certainly fell apart with Grand Sancy jumping, no fences at all. So I think this horse brings a pretty robust level of form into the race, to be honest. I don't really see why he's 5 to 1. I see him more as a 3 to 1 chance personally. I think he's the overpriced one of the lot, and he'll be taken to win the Henry VIII Novices Chase. I'm going to cover the Tingle Creek because more than likely it'll be in the title. This is a fairly dismal betting race, though, I must say. Looking at it, it's not a race that I look at with any sort of enthusiasm from an angle perspective. Altior, most likely winner, yes. Am I backing him at odds on? Certainly not. Maybe the one who's maybe a little bit overpriced is Politologue. He's around 4 to 1, 9 to 2. He probably should be 3 to 1. Grenadine and Rouge Vif, potential improvers, but need to improve an awful lot. It's not a race that inspires me with any confidence. Only 6 runners declared. Great to see good old Castle Grace Paddy take his chance in this race. Hopefully he can run a decent race. He's not up to winning it, I don't suspect, but hopefully he can run round and pick up a good bit of prize money for Pat Fahey. Brian Cooper booked in the saddle. Good to see Brian Cooper get a big grade 1 ride over in England. So unfortunately, I am actually going to leave that as a selectionless race because I think it's a good race. It's a decent spectacle of a race. I'd be interested to watch it, but there's just no betting angle, and I'm not going to force a bet that I don't believe in. Going up to Aintree, the Many Clouds Chase over 3 mile 1 furlong. I'd be willing to take a chance there on the old boy Native River on reappearance at 2 to 1. I think it's not the worst price actually. I think Santini's opposable first time out. No doubt in this that Santini is the best horse of these three at the top of the market going forward, and it's the only chance of the three I suspect in a Gold Cup. But he's a laboured type. He only fell in on reappearance at Sandown last year behind Now McGinty, or just in front of Now McGinty. He's a horse that's been very stuffy and very tricky to get fit in the past, and I just wonder whether that might be the same case here. And if Native River rocks up ready to go, could take an awful lot of stopping. Frodon, I suppose, if he's ever going to beat horses like this, it will be on Saturday because he has race fitness on his side. You guys know what I feel about Frodon, though. I just don't think he's up to it against these really good horses, personally, but I'm willing to be proven wrong in that. The Grand Sefton, a good race, 2.5 race over the Grand National fences. Some likeable horses in this, and I'm quite keen on one at an each way price. Springtown Lake at 10 to 1. I backed this horse at Aintree on his reappearance when he was second behind Modus, who he reappears again. Tom O'Brien keeps the ride. He's off an unchanged mark of 142, and I think there's a bit of juice in this mark, and I think there's a bit of juice in the price as well. He shapes like a real good jumper. Obviously, you don't know how he's going to act around the national fences. That's something you just have to take on trust with an awful lot of these horses going into a race like this, but I assume we'll hopefully get 5-6 places on the day with the majority of bookmakers, and I think 10 to 1's a fair each way price as a result. I think he could be one that runs a very big race. As I say, he reopposes Modus here, who had his number at Aintree on the Melling course last time out. But Modus has been a tricky and inconsistent horse in the past, and I wouldn't particularly back him to back that run up. As for Springtown Lakes, maybe a bit more consistent, maybe a little bit more vulnerable as a result, but hopefully runs well. The Becher Chase, again over the Grand National fences, 3 mile 2 furlongs this one. Some of the real old stagers in this race, Walk in the Mill, I think has won the race the last 2 years. And he was close to being my selection. I just don't know about his weight. I don't know whether they'll be looking to maintain that weight because he'd be off a nice enough racing weight come the national if he was to go there again. But the one I'd take maybe in this race was Ramses Teillee at 8 to 1. Big grey horse for David Pipe. Tom Scudamore won the big handicap chase last week and has been riding out of his skin recently. His horse is off a mark of 153, which theoretically may be a little bit high, I must say, but I'm really hoping that there may be a pot still in him off this mark. He beat Yala Enki on reappearance at Cheltenham over 3 mile 3. Now, that was the race Discorama folded very tamely in. West Approach didn't run very well. So I'm not sure about the overall face of that form, but he exploited being a novice hurdler last year, despite always being a chaser, and collected a few decent pots at that. The more grain, the better for this horse. He loves the mud. Maybe if the ground was to stay the way it is, he may be a little bit done for tactical speed. He's run once over the national fences before in the national 2 years ago, where his rein broke. The jockey's rein broke. So I don't think you can look into that too much. I think he's a stronger, more kind of compact horse now than he was then. He was running in the national, I think, age 6, or at maximum age 7. I think it was age 7 actually, now that I say it. He's 8 now. He'll be 9 come the national next year. I'm sure that's the target, and hopefully he can run a big race over the national fences to book his place going towards Aintree in April. 2 others on Saturday just around the grounds. One at Sandown in the 1:15, a 2 mile handicap hurdle, a race that hasn't been priced up yet. A few of the next races haven't been priced up, and I really quite like this 50 ball for Gary Moore. Gary Moore operates quite well around Sandown, I'd have said, and this horse won at Ascot last time out. He's off a mark of 120, but Niall Houlihan takes £7 off, so he's 113. I think he's a better horse than a mark of 113. He was second to Beyond the Pale at Fontwell the previous time to that, so I'm getting a bit tongue-tied there. But he won at Ascot. I think the drop back down to 2 miles on soft ground probably will see this horse to best effect I'd have assumed. And I just really hope this horse runs a big race. As I say, Gary Moore's a decent affiliation with Sandown now over the last couple of years. He's got a good record there, and hopefully this horse can go and do the business. And the one race I'm going to cover from Navan on Saturday is the Foxrock Handicap. Bizarre how the Foxrock Handicap, which is obviously, like, Foxrock is obviously near Leopardstown, is being run in Navan. But anyway, that's for another day. The 253 race, I'm really quite squeezed on this Bois de Clamart for Liz Doyle and Sean Flanagan. I thought he was running a super race behind Shabby Arches on Handicap Bow. And on seating 4 out at Punchestown, he certainly would have been in the mix that day. And hopefully he can go and reap a bit of compensation. He was a very impressive winner of a beginner's chase down at Tramore prior to that. And I think there is an awful lot of juice off his mark of 125. As I say, Sean Flanagan back in the saddle this time. Moving on to Sunday, hard to know with some of these Sunday races who's going to turn up. I'm going to start off with the Peterborough Chase at Huntington, which is the big race over in England. I think that the bet here is actually top notch with William Hill. William Hill have him down as 5-1 for this race. I think he's a decent price at that, but I'm also going to put up 2 in the race because I'm not sure whether he's going to run or not. But Paddy Power, as a different bookmaker, have simply the bets at 12-1 for the race. So I might put on a few quid at 12-1 each way, and just, obviously if he doesn't get declared, you do lose that money, but that's the risk you're going to take. I backed Ballyadam last week at 13-8 on Thursday morning, and then he ends up going off a 4-6 chance. So it does work either way. So I'm going to put up those 2. Top notch at 5-1 with William Hill, which is an outlier price, and simply the bet's at 12-1 each way for the Peterborough. Moving into the Irish action, and I don't have much of a say about the Hilly Way down in Cork because I think it's so hard to know who's going to run in the race. The 2 I would give you, obviously, if Chacun Runs was to run, he'll win, but he'll be an extremely prohibitive price as a result. I'm not sure. I'd really doubt if he does run. I'm not sure whether they'd run maybe a horse like Allaho down here instead of running him against Min or trying to give him some race. I really don't know. The one I maybe do see running is Cashback, who was a little bit unlucky on reappearance. He was quite buzzy. He just knuckled on landing at the back of the first and fell. I think there's a decent horse still in him, and maybe he's the one. If he was declared not against Allaho or Chacun Runs, he'd be the one I'd back. But it's a race you really have to wait to the entries because I've no idea who's actually going to turn up. The John Durkan itself looks a bit of an easier picture to decipher, and it really depends on whether Allaho takes on Min here. I'd be of the impression he won't, so therefore Min at 15-8 I think is a cracking price. If Allaho took him on, I'd probably have to back Allaho. I do really like him for the Ryanair, although he has come on for reappearances before. He got beat at Leopardstown in a beginner's chase last year. He got beat in Leopardstown in a Stephen's Day bumper by Exit Pole, actually, 2 years ago before going on to run in the Albert Bartlett later that year. So maybe he is one actually to take on first time out. I think Min's the most solid option here. He'll definitely run in the race. Battle Over Doyen's the type of horse that really does my head in, to be honest. I can't make head nor tail of him. I think at the end of the day, I'm not sure he's that brilliant. And Sam Crow is just going to be trained, I suspect, with one big crack at the Ryanair in March in mind. So he might run a better race than he did at Down Royal. He might be able to reverse the form with Battle Over Doyen, but I'm not sure whether either of them will be able to catch Min at 15-8. The only other race I'm going to cover on Sunday is down in Cork as well, the 2:30, a Grade 3 Novices Hurdle. I like the look of a Gordon Elliott horse in this called Ragnar Lodbrok. He was quite a highly touted bumper horse last year, ran a very nice race to finish 3rd behind Eric Bloodaxe and Fernie Hollow in a bumper that's worked out brilliantly at Fairyhouse before, then disappointing behind Appreciated in the elongated 2.5 mile bumper at Christmas time at Leopardstown. Over hurdles this year, he won on his maiden hurdle debut at 2 mile, over 2 mile 5, looking a pretty stout stare, and then didn't jump very well when finishing 2nd in a listed novice hurdle last time out behind Darren's Hope, who he reopposes in this race. But I think just if he jumped a little bit better, a little bit slicker, I think he'd have an awful lot of a chance to make up a lot of that 7-length defeat that was there last time out, and he might be one as a result you'd get a little bit of a price on, and if he is an each way price 5 to 1 upwards, 6 to 1 upwards, I would be taking that each way. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below. And of course, check out Kieran, and anything horse racing buddy related, do get in touch with him and with me if you'd like to be involved in one of the up and coming racing clubs around Ireland. If you do have any winners for the weekend, or any winners you believe may come in over the weekend, please do let us all know down below in the comments. We all like backing winners between the lot of us, so hopefully we'll get a bit of luck between now and then. And until next week, where I'll see you guys again, I hope you stay safe, stay well, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.